So, you've just loaded up some Dead by Daylight, and you've decided, you know what, let's play some Killer. But what are you running? What is your build? Odds are it might look something like this. Pain Res, Pop, Nowhere to Hide, and some endgame perk. Oh boy, what fun. Not boring or sleepy at all. Sorry. Just seeing the same combination on Killer of the same 6 to 7 perks. It gets old, it gets boring, and it gets old, boring, fast. But what is there to do? Well, there's over 100 Killer perks in the game to choose from. So today, I'm going to help you, the viewer, branch out and see the glory of some of these other perks that exist in Dead by Daylight, pair them with a Killer, and give you one fun perk you can try on every Killer. Now, before we get started, there's a few rules. Rule number 1, I am going to try not to use any meta perks. No pop, no pain res, no lethal, no way out. I'm going to avoid these perks and show off some of the perks that don't get as much love from the player base. Rule number 2, it is one perk per Killer, which means if we use a perk on Trapper, say we give Trapper Corrupt Intervention, we will not be showing off Corrupt Intervention on another Killer. So once a perk is used on a Killer, that perk will not be used as a recommendation again. And third, this isn't so much a rule, just kind of a bit of a warning or foreshadowing. There are 37 Killers in Dead by Daylight, and having to record 37 games to show off a perk might drive me crazy. So some games that I have to show off the best value will be against real players, and others that I just want to show it off quickly and how effective it can be will be using against bots so I can show it off and then DC once I get what I need. But that does not take away from the validity of how useful these perks are in these Killers, and I promise you they are all still perks that I personally have used in-game against real players. But without further ado, let's get into this list and show off some fun perks. Now, going in order of the Killers, we are starting with the Trapper. And for the Trapper, we've gone with a perk I've covered on him before, Hysteria. Now, Hysteria will pair best with the Iridescent Bloody Coil add-on, for the simple fact of survivors love to attack Trapper traps. And every time they do, it will trigger Hysteria, making every injured survivor become oblivious, which will give you, as the Trapper, a sneaky advantage on the upcoming survivors. So we see here that the Fang has triggered Hysteria by attacking a trap and is now oblivious. So right there, we had 2 injured survivors, and once we attacked the Fang, it became 3, giving us obliviousness on every injured survivor. The Yunjin did not know we were coming, which gave us, if we had hit her, would have given us an advantage on her, but we whiffed. But she just injured herself, and the cycle of Hysteria continues. For the Wraith, we've selected Play with Your Food, because the Wraith has a very interesting mechanic when it comes to his chase. And that is, the moment he cloaks, the chase ends, immediately giving him a faster stack of Play with Your Food than a Killer like a Tombstone Myers, who will run and avoid the chase by any means necessary, whereas the Wraith can stay in chase and still gain stacks. Then, once you have all 3 stacks, you don't even have to worry about losing them, as you can simply attack the Obsession, cloak, gain that 3rd stack back, and you're right back in it with 15% bonus haste. And the best part, that still gives you 2 stacks of Play with Your Food to carry into your next chase. Here we have a Trevor, And because of our speed bonus, and slightly because he's a bot, it gives us the advantage in getting a quicker down. And then once Kate's unhooked, we can repeat the cycle all over again. With our Meg down, we see that we picked for Billy Alien Instinct. Because even though Billy doesn't need much when it comes to traversing the map with how quick he moves, knowing you have an injured survivor and knowing exactly where to go for them with how quickly Billy can move map-wide is definitely a help. And with that, we find our Trevor, we find him at Shack, but we already know that he's our injured survivor, and with him going down, once Meg gets unhooked, the cycle continues, that we'll be able to go and find Meg after Trevor. Trevor down, on a hook, and we find Meg, and the cycle continues for every survivor that becomes injured, or just the furthest injured survivor away. Now, I know I said no meta perks, but this still isn't in the top 10 most used perks for Killer, according to our sources at Nightlight, so we're gonna count it. For the nurse, I've picked Predator. So Predator is as simple after its buff of once you lose chase with a survivor. So let's lose this chase. Or she can run right into... No, let's hit her. And then, oh no, we lost the... Wait. Why is Predator on a cooldown? Wait, when did we lose chase with her? Okay, we're gonna try this again. The bot is currently standing here, and we're gonna... Oh no, you've been hit. Run away. Yep. We lost the bot. We lost chase. But thanks to Predator, we know exactly where to go, get our down, and use our information. I don't know what happened the first time we tried to show it, but the second time, we got it. Now with the Huntress, we picked Darkness Revealed, and while it may be a pretty simple choice, it's still a solid one, because with Huntress, you're going to be going to lockers a lot, and you're going to need some information at times to ignore my whiffs, but to also find a survivor that you might just be looking for, whether you need to get someone down, or just a survivor in general. Darkness Revealed gives that information, helps get the down, and keeps your Huntress games moving even smoother. Now, with Myers, we've locked in Coup de Grace, because Myers has the most unique lunge out of every killer in Dead by Daylight, where in Tier 1, the lunge is almost non-existent. In Tier 2, you have a pretty standard regular killer lunge. And then in Tier 3, you get a slightly longer lunge. But what happens if you take Tier 3 and add the tokens from Coup de Grace and its 80% bonus? I should have let Trevor do this gen to get Coup de Grace tokens. Be right back. Okay, now we have our tokens. So for starters, the initial lunge is already much larger and gives us good distance. But then the double surprise of Coup comes from being able to be used in chase, to be able to potentially beat a survivor to a window, to a pallet, or just close a gap if they have a significant amount of distance on us. As we approach two survivors here, this one's the furthest. Normally, we don't get anywhere close to that hit with Tier 3, but with Coup, that gives us the quick down and lets us continue building on pressure. Next, we come to the Hag. And for the Hag, we've chosen a perk that used to be very popular on her when survivors could light burn away her traps. Yeah, what a time that was. And that is Franklin's Demise, which is still effective because survivors have one key ingredient. As we'll use of this Claudette, nope. Let's find someone else. as we will use this ace eventually to demonstrate. Don't do what I'm doing. Never commit to a chase with a hag, as a hag, unless you have the shoe add-on. It's a very bad decision. So as we hit the ace, we take away his medkit with Franklin's. Alright. Because it plays into survivor greed. He is going to go back for that medkit because he will not be able to resist picking it up. Or his teammate won't be able to resist. Now we come to the doctor. A guy that I question how he got his medical license. Now with our build, it looks like we could genuinely be showcasing any of these 4 perks. But the one we're going to focus on is Merciless Storm, which definitely has the most unique ability for the doctor, considering his skill checks from causing madness affect Merciless Storm, which will make it so Jen's skill checks go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which can lead to a skill check being missed, unless you're that Nick Cage over there who has not been affected by any of our static blasts throughout this game. So, as you see, we have a Merciless Stormed Gen off in the corner, completely blocked off, which gives us time to get to it. And then we finally find our Nick Cage here, who we can Static Blast and get him affected by the weird skill checks. Now, for the bestest boy, Bubba. DBD's rising star. He's been a star. And ironically, we're on the map where if I wanted to, we could just be a bartender. But we're focusing on machine learning. Recently buffed and slightly nerfed, but still just as fun on Bubba. Because 10% haste with stealth for 45 seconds is incredible. Now, I normally pair it with Tinkerer so I know what gens are being worked on, but you can also just guess and hope that a gen gets done. Obviously, on a map like Dead Dog, the 2 targets are going to be here and there. Alright, so this gen got hit with Tinkerer. We do that. And that. Now we wait for them to finish the gen, get our machine learning, and have some fun. Machine learning has activated just when we needed it with our chase with Claudie. I'm sure she gets this vault, but helps us get Ripley. Now, while I do miss the 60 seconds, even on a super strong main building like Dead Dog, this gives us so much freedom to maneuver this building and hopefully get this Claudette. And we have machine learning, which we kind of wasted taking Claudette to a hook, but gives us that speed, gets Meg, and we still, I don't know if we're on cooldown or not, but gives us time to catch up to our Claudette. And there's our machine learning. Meg hits balanced landing, and even with it, we catch up almost immediately. And in the end game, machine learning with the insta-down didn't stand a chance. Then we move on to Freddy. And as you can see from our one perk, we're back against bots, no real players. We have Thrilling Tremors, which is just super solid information with Freddy's ability to teleport to gens, as we'll demonstrate once we down this Bill. Alright, now we take Bill, take him to a hook, and with Thrilling Tremors, we see 2 gens that are not blocked by Tremors. That one got done, so we teleport here, because we know that there's someone here. And then, not only does Tremors get us right on them, combined with the Z-Block add-on, we get to know exactly where they're running and give us an advantage pursuing in the chase. You almost played like a real Leon. Honestly, the bots aren't too far from actual players sometimes. Now for the pig, we've gone with Hex Plaything, which might seem like an interesting choice, but let me explain. Now the pig specializes in having built-in slowdown by applying a bear trap. Is someone here? Great flashlight save. So now not only... Good Sabo, actually. Okay. It took 3 attempts, but we have her on a hook, and now she's affected by both Plaything and a hat, which gives double slowdown. And as we can come to in a little bit, she won't know when we are approaching, so we will be able to not only interrupt a potential hat removal, but just in general be able to strike from anywhere. So, courtesy of Plaything, we know Claudie was coming for this hook, and she did not expect us. She wasted a lot of time getting her hat, then gets cursed. So everything just works out for us, not so much for her. Once again, Plaything showing its value with the pig, as she was doing her trap, got interrupted, and then goes down, giving us more pressure. Even going back to hook just like that, Plaything value shows its head with not 1, but 2 survivors who did not see us coming. Coming onto Clown, we use Rapid Brutality, which realistically is good with any M1 killer, that you have a power you're going to be using a lot, so you're not really going to be gaining Bloodlust anyway, like Clown, like Doctor, so that the drawback doesn't really matter. But Clown is probably the best user of Rapid Brutality. Why? Because it is as simple as... Okay, let's let these bots get somewhere, like, decent. This guy's just going somewhere decent. It's as simple as hit. They get hit by the gas. And we catch up almost immediately because of Rapid Brutality. Combining it with Save the Best for Last is fun, but also just not necessary, because it is that strong on Clown by itself. So once again, Rapid, Bottle, Bottle slows them, Rapid catches us up, they go down. This one was even our obsession, so we didn't even get the benefit of Save the Best for Last on this one. And it's still just that useful. Coming on to Spirit, we have the recently buffed Genetic Limits, a perk that on its own, with most killers, isn't too good. But, with the popularity of Iron Will, we've given it to Spirit to show just how strong it can be, making survivors exhausted after a hit, losing their Iron Will. As you see, we have 3 Atoms and 1 Leon. The Leon we'll get to, but the Atoms are all running Iron Will. Okay, though we should have hit that guy first. They all have Iron Will, Lithe, and Balanced Landing. That one used its Lithe, so we kind of lost our chance to show, but So right here, he's been hit, he has Iron Will, but we can still hear him. We should have let him get the pallet to show that he can't lie, they're balanced. But with the removal of exhaustion, Iron Will with Spirit becomes a thing of the past and nothing we have to worry about. However, there is one exhaustion perk that this doesn't necessarily work with, and we have to find Leon to show that. So here we have our Leon, who is running Iron Will and Overcome. Despite being an exhaustion perk, Overcome still takes priority off genetic limits and gives them a much longer distance, so use that knowledge to know that Sprint Burst, Overcome are still better than genetic limits, lithe and balanced, can be countered. And I guess Smash Hit and Head On too. Now Legion has the unique ability with the Frenzy to injure multiple survivors in a short period of time, which is why the perk we've gone with is Hexed the Third Seal to inflict the rarely used blindness condition. Because it used to be that blindness only took effect for Third Seal of a regular M1. But with buffs, I forget how long ago, made it so that any form of damage counts. So right now, I mean, we could use Third Seal in a toxic manner, leave her slugged, and the only person that could find her would be Michaela, since she is currently the only person not injured. Instead, we'll put her on a hook. Now, obviously, we want to find Michaela and get everyone affected by Third Seal. So, as we can see, they did not find her on that hook in time. Michaela has died from just existing for too long, which even with a bonus, what, like 10 seconds to hook times, wasn't enough. Alright, we have our Plague, and for her, we have chosen Terminus, which goes well with the whole endgame build, but for right now, oh yeah, you're a naughty little Gen, aren't you? You like that, don't you? We'll get back to that once we actually reach endgame and the perk can take effect. Alright, we are in the endgame. Now we just wait for someone to cleanse, because once they cleanse, they will still be injured, thanks to Terminus. There we go, we have Sable cleansing, and she is still hurt despite the cleanse, giving us a huge advantage once we find her. Here we have our Sable, who has never had a chance to heal despite cleansing thanks to Terminus. And there she goes. Alright, now we have Ghostface, the most ghost. And for Ghostface, we've gone with Starstruck. Now, realistically, this could work on any stealth killer with a 32-meter terror radius. Ghostface, Wraith, Chucky. But we go Ghostface because he's just the most fun. Alright, now that he's down, we grab our Ash. We know that we had other Ashes on that gen, and we saw one go into the house. They should all be affected by Starstruck. Somehow we got revealed even behind a bush. Behavior, please buff Ghostface. But anyway, we use our Starstruck to down our nearby survivors. Normally we'd be undetectable sneaking up afterwards, but bots are cheaters, and Ghostface reveal mechanic needs buffed. But outside of that, this is super effective, and we've done a whole video about this in the past. Super fun, highly recommended. Dracula's in the game, but the demo dog is still best dog. And for demo, we've gone with Thwack, a unique choice. But odds are, if you're playing Demogorgon, you're running Barb's Glasses, you're running the Heart, and so you'll have a faster shred. So you can early game, break something, find someone, or in that situation not, and you know that you are in the wrong area. Now we saw someone come over this way, we don't know where, so I'm going to pretend I don't see this Ash, who I meant to turn all these guys into Steves and Nancys, you know, to match Demo, but oh well. But we hit Thwack, now we know Ash is over here. This is like an infinite for bots, just because, you know, that's how they are. And then even though all of our tokens of Thwack have been used up, the bots are gen rushing. Wow, how rude. We get a token back for every hook, so we can break and find out we have another Ash. I almost said Steve because I just wanted these to be Steves over in this direction. Unique choice by him. Alright, we have the Armored Titan, the Oni. And for the Oni, I almost picked Tinkerer, but I feel like everyone's run Tinkerer on Oni. Everyone knows about, oh, he's angry and he's stealthy. So we picked Leverage. It's been recently buffed and super useful on Oni in particular. Your sprint burst means nothing to me. Okay, she's down. Now the reason we picked Oni for Leverage was because Oni needs a supply of blood. Is this what we're doing? Okay. Alright, there we go. Oni needs a supply of blood. And with Leverage, they aren't able to unhook right away. Or, they're not able to heal right away after getting the unhook, which is huge for us. So they'll be able to keep pools of blood for our use throughout the map. So right now, we know Cheryl's been unhooked, they're healing, and the heal is taking a long time. Yep, look at all the blood over at that hook. It is just a huge advantage for us, and we're probably going to be able to almost get our power back. And since she wasn't able to heal quick enough, it's just another quick down for us. Now, thanks to Leverage, they have not been able to heal almost this entire game, which just helps us secure the win. Alright, we have the Slinger here with a perk that honestly could have worked for Spirit. I've covered it on Spirit in a video in the past. We've gone with Hubris. Why did we give it to Slinger though instead of giving it back to Spirit? Well, there's an easy explanation and I will show you. First, we get stunned. Okay, that one's kind of being dumb. Let's go to this one. Okay, that's a pre-drop ma. Okay, we have a Zarina. We have re-entered Chase. Okay, we are right on her. So we are going to get stunned. Oh no! She is now affected by Hubris. But Slinger has the range to shoot a survivor. And while they're still exposed, get the hit, get the down, and get perfect payback. You stun me, I down you. On to the next killer. Okay, the Dorito Man, Pyramid Head. Now, I initially attempted this with bots, but they're filthy cheaters, so it didn't work. But we are showing off Zanshin tactics with Pyramid Head, because it's super useful when a survivor drops a pallet, and we just have nice information to know exactly where they're going. So here, we dropped a pallet, he sees us, but he has object, so he's also a filthy little cheater, just like a bot. Here we have Ada, drops the pallet, we miss, but thankfully we know her exact movement, thanks to the extra time of Zanshin tactics. Now, even with a stun and a blind, Zanshin gives us her location, we get her, and it is GG's to Ada. Okay, I don't play Blight, I don't enjoy Blight. But a unique perk that I have enjoyed on him is Human Greed, solely because Blight traverses the map better than anyone else. So even though we have Lethal Pursuer, we're seeing Survivor auras because of the chests. We know this guy's out here. Blight has arguably... I'm sorry, I just have like the longest yawn in history. So it guided it out, obviously. But Blight has the longest map traversal potential, best potential in the game. So it makes sense to give this to him, because Human Greed, the moment you see an aura, even for the tiniest second, it's super useful, because Blight can just take off and get to whatever spot he saw someone at. So here we see two Felixes. And we're able to track them perfectly because so many chests are in play thanks to... Well, obviously you're not going to see this many chests in a normal game. But I did have all the bots bring the shiny coins just to show it off. What is that bump logic? So we see him here, but he knows where we're at, because I will keep saying it every time. Bots are cheaters. Bots are actual cheaters who have wall hacks. But yeah, you will normally never see this many chests in a game. You'll obviously see 3, sometimes 4, because whether it's a coin offering or the most recent event blood point offering, which gives an additional chest for each one burned. So depending how many people bring that offering, you can get multiple chests. Twins! Twins, twins, twins. Now, great in groups, we have Forced Hesitation. So, since the bots are giving us an advantage, we can down this LD and get so much advantage on the next because of how slow they are. And that was just bot gameplay. Forced Hesitation also works against not bots, especially in a trading scenario, into a tunneling scenario. Let's say Elodie here is on the hook. Another one comes in, we interrupt the unhook, they proceed to get the unhook, then we down whoever was coming for the unhook. This LD will run free, but affected by Forced Hesitation for however long it lasts, giving us time to catch up to her, outlast the borrowed time, and tunnel if we so feel the need to. There's no one nearby here, so no Forced Hesitation. Alright, we have the Trickster, who we gave a perk that has seen a massive fall from grace for being one of Dead by Daylight's most used to almost being non-existent, and that is Ultimate Weapon. Now, much like we said for Huntress, you're going to go to a locker a lot. And sometimes it's nice to have information, maybe about a sneaky survivor hiding nearby, like this Yunjin. The only downside being, even though Ultimate Weapon is nowhere near as strong as it once was, a 60-second cooldown is a lot to recover from. And whether it's a big map, small map, you can use Ultimate Weapon to find missing survivors, or just anyone in case you need a chase to begin with. Just like that, we find this Yunjin, and she's down. Get it down without it, full of knives, doesn't matter. You can still just use it to pursue your next chase. Now for Nemesis, the big man himself, we've went pretty basic with Spirit Fury. Nemesis breaks pallets better than anyone in Dead by Daylight, with the exception of maybe Bubba. But there'll be occasions you still get stunned. And that's where the Spirit Fury comes in to be a lovely surprise for the unsuspecting survivor. Pallet break number 1. Here's pallet break number 2. So now the next time we go near a pallet, we get stunned. If this is a real player, they'd be caught off guard. But this is a bot, so they're just gonna stun us and keep running. So we come up, boom, stunned. Spirit Fury, and right back in it. Quick hit on the survivor. If they were injured, that's a down, and it just gives us a lovely bunch of pressure. So once more, we have our Spirit Fury ready to go. Boom, down, and conveniently, right by a hook. Okay, I know I said no meta perks, and you gotta give it to me, I've done a good job so far. But for Pinhead, we're going with Lethal Pursuer, because as you can see, it gives us the location of every spawning survivor. And the box spawns in the location furthest away from all 4. So as we can tell, we spawned there, and every survivor spawned on this side of the map, which puts the box in this corner. Somewhere. I hear it. Here it is. So we've already found the box within the first 15 seconds of the game, creating pressure for the early game and going on. Now, if you are a good enough Pinhead who's put enough hours in, you probably already have box spawns figured out and don't need this. But for a lot of players who aren't as that good, this is a very fun trick that lets them get early pressure to go for the rest of the game. Alright, we have the Artiste. And realistically, I probably could have done this against bots, but I feel like bots are really good at cleansing totems. I might be wrong, I don't know. But we went with Surveillance, which we can already see survivors on this gen. Someone got on and off of it, so Ruin is affected, and we hit 2 with birds. So it's a good pressure for the artist to be able to just find survivors super fast. And we've already injured the Alucard. Yeah, what's up, buddy? You're not in a good spot, are you? All of this made possible by Surveillance. Super fun perk, super underrated, and realistically, artists might use it best, except for maybe a killer like the Dredge. Comboed with perks like Pain Res and Ruin and Oppression, you will always be able to have some gen being worked on. We know someone's back over here, but they're probably going to get my Ruin any second. Yeah. They're off the gen, which means they're on the totem. That one wasn't so much Surveillance, but we do get good value out of that there. Actually, it was Surveillance because we saw the gen light up white. So we knew someone touched it, got off of it, and Surveillance came through for us. And even though they took our Ruin, we have perks like Pain Res to let us know that we have survivors on gens. Okay, we have Sadako. And we've gone with our one perk, which isn't even active yet, Face the Darkness. Because Sadako has a neat little effect with the Manifest and De-Manifest. And that is the moment she is de-manifested, there is no terror radius. Did I get the bots quick and quiet? So we hit this Yoichi, which, by the way, I just watched the original Ringu film recently. Are you... Bots are something, man. Bots are something. And it's like, I lost my train of thought with the bot going to the locker. I was gonna say, it's so weird that we got, like, this version of Yoichi, right? Alright, everyone screams, and we are able to see them as long as they're outside our terror radius. And that's what I was saying, is when we are de-manifested, we don't have a terror radius. So we'll be able to, when they scream, project to a TV and ambush someone. Like right here. Now this is probably one I could have tested fully against real people, because bots are cheaters, and they just know every totem spawn. Then we demanifest and wait for the next screams, because we have Sloppy Butcher, which we can just use hit and run. But Face the Darkness is our priority. And he's right in front of us, so it didn't really matter. But bonk, he goes down. And then if we don't like our totem spawn, which that one went back, we can reapply it by attacking another survivor. Because the moment the initial survivor is healed, Face the Darkness goes away, and then we'll respawn somewhere else. We see these two over there. We know they're on this gen. And boom, here we are. Face the Darkness, super fun on Sadako. Also works well with killers like Dredge. Dredge and Wraith. Alright, we've been talking a lot about, oh, this would have worked well on the Dredge. A lot lately. And it's finally his turn. What did we give the Dredge? We're giving the Dredge friends. Friends till the end. Making full advantage of his teleport to lockers to get an advantage over the survivor that becomes exposed once we hook someone. Please don't let this Hattie be our obsession. This one is our obsession. So we have found this Hattie. We will down this Hattie. Now that we've downed this one, we hook. We see. And we get our friends till the end value. And then once we put her up here, the next one screams. And if we want to pursue someone else, the cycle continues all over again. Alright, we have Wesker. And if you... I'll let him get his moment there. But if you look at our build, you will see one perk that is not like the others. And that is Unforeseen. We're going to turn Wesker stealthy. My favorite, honestly. I love turning killers into stealth killers. We've done it like a dozen times on this channel. But Unforeseen is fun because it puts our terror radius on whatever generator we kick and gives Wesker the added benefit, I see you, of a small buff unique to him and him alone when it comes to this perk. But a smart survivor would also be able to tell initially that this perk is in play, as it sets the killer's terror radius to 32 meters, instead of Wesker's usual 40. So it's a smaller range for Wesker's terror radius that not many survivors would actually be able to pick up on. So we've kicked a gen, Unforeseen is active, and these guys had no idea we were even coming. So we do this, Cheryl sees us, and our plan is going to be to catch Sable off guard. Which worked flawlessly.
You disappoint me. Is that the best you've got?
It's night time. Now, I tried this with bots, but bots don't miss skill checks. Why does that matter? Because the perk we're using is Gearhead. So we attack Steve, which activates our Gearhead, and then anytime a survivor hits a good skill check on a gen, we see their aura. And then we can send a guard over to that generator to try and force them off of it. Super useful for the night. So now that person is occupied, and we saw an aura of Sable or Meg down here. I'm unsure which one it was, but we saw them. And then it's a cycle, because if our guard hits the survivor, Gearhead activates once more for us to send out our next. Like so. Lara gets down by the guard. Gearhead activates. I have not seen this Meg's aura all game. And there we go. And then we see another aura up here for the heal. Send out the guard. The guard takes Steve, and we take Sable. Lara tried a play, but this reactivates our gearhead, and we keep an eye on the gens. Okay, now this one was hard. We have the Skull Merchant, who initially I thought would have had a few things going for her, but after Behavior took her out back and did her, Ol Yeller style, I have not been able to think of something, but we went with a Nurse's Calling, because after rereading the patch notes, yeah, I went that far back to try and find something about this killer that's redeemable. And it is her stealth. Never was touched. The hindered, things about the traps, all got changed. But dropping a drone still keeps her as stealthy as it always has. So you can take her in a hit-and-run playstyle, where once you have Nurse's Calling going, you'll be able to see a survivor getting healed, and you will be able to drop a drone, become stealthy, and get the upper hand on a potential target. So we saw the aura right there of a quick heal between these two. Helped us find them. We go, we attack, and we interrupt. And it goes to show that even in modern Dead by Daylight, where it's not as used as a perk, a Nurse's Calling still has some pretty good value. Right here, we see them going for the heal. We drop a drone, and we ambush. Easy as that. They say it wasn't programmed to harm the crew, but with me in charge, it absolutely was. Because the perk we've decided to go with for the Singularity is Devour Hope, which gets extra benefits from Larry as arguably the best totem defender in Dead by Daylight. Being able to set a camera on your totems, know when someone might be on them, and constantly switch back between defense and attack. So even on a large map like RPD, we can look, check our totems out, see that we have someone there, and interrupt them. And we go. Now obviously this is a lot harder to defend because bots know everything. And through the magic of editing, we are now at all 5 stacks of Devour Hope, simply from just switching back and forth with our cameras. And that he will. Okay, it's Mighty Morphin Xeno time. And the perk we've gone with is Dark Arrogance, which gives the user a 35% faster vault as long as we don't get stunned, because a stun will increase the amount of time we are stunned and blinded as the drawback. Why does this work so well with Xenomorph? A, the Bolt add-on, which makes it so as long as you are in crawler mode, you get faster vaults. B, Like I said, you don't want to get stunned. And if you're at a pallet with Zeno, more likely than not, you're going to be going for a tail attack to avoid the stun to begin with. So you're less likely to get hit and suffer the drawbacks. Now, obviously, the game decided to give us Gideon's meat plant. Not a lot of vaults here to show off just how useful the vaults are in Chase to cut someone off as well, but we'll try and do that if we can. Alright, right here, we can vault with Ripley vaulting, and we are almost immediately on her with no time lost. So we vault, no distance lost, and boom, immediately in range for the tail. Dark Arrogance with Xenomorph, super solid perk. Okay, much like the Skull Merchant, but like kind of different, we have Chucky. Whereas Skull Merchant was, I could not think of anything good to work with her. Chucky's flaw is it seems like everything is good on him. So the perk that I've gone with was Deathbound. It's an interesting choice, that's for sure. But we're playing on the strengths that Chucky is a killer who can already become undetectable. And it'll incite paranoia in whoever the healer is that we could be coming at any given moment. So step 1, get it down to Survivor. Step 2, put them on a hook. Step 3, wait patiently for someone to come unhook them and heal them. Alright, the Fang has been unhooked, so now we just listen to see who heals and who the Scream is. Fang healed herself. That kind of counters our whole plan. I'm gonna be honest. Alright, Yui's been unhooked, so let's try this again with her. Alright, we had a Scream from the Meg, who was the one that picked up our Yui. So now we just wait patiently for them to split up, and we'll be able to catch Meg off guard. Here we see Meg, who is affected by Deathbound from healing Yui. No, this is the Yui, who is affected by Deathbound from healing Meg. One of the two. Here's the Meg. Talita healed Meg, which means she will now be oblivious. And if those two split up, they will both now be oblivious to my location. We almost had Talita, but thankfully for her, she was able to stick the gen and get it done in time to pay attention to us coming. Fang healed Meg, which makes her oblivious. So we're going to try and creep up and ambush her. And just like that, completely caught off guard. Now, much like I stated with Blight, I am not a good unknown by any means. I do not relatively enjoy playing the unknown. But when I do, Make Your Choice is definitely like the perk I play to have the most fun. And we will get to that reasoning in just a second. And just like that, they teleport, or I'm sorry, they unhook, I teleport, and we get an immediate down on our unhooker. Quick pressure, super fun, and if they don't play it well, it's just a massive snowball effect for the survivors. And they've unhooked. We go for the teleport. We're getting body blocked by a bot. That is crazy. God, even bots are toxic with body blocks. Who would have guessed? Let's hope it's you. It is not you. But in time, we still get her. Exposed, downed. And on a hook. Okay, we have Vecna, who's kind of a bit of a master of everything, considering, you know, the 4 spells. So the perk we decided to give him to focus and get the most out of these spells is I'm all ears, which we can demonstrate as soon as this ace revolts. A bot just got a nat 20. Alright, so the bot has dropped the pallet. And we're able to see exactly what they move. We can drop a skull, and then we can still keep up, knowing where they're moving. So this gives us an ability to use fly if we need to cover distance. We can hit them with the orb if they have an object that we don't like and we want to cancel out its power. And the hand. So if we see them going towards a pallet, we're able to simply block their next pallet. We see Lara. We'll try and cut her off with the orb, because she has an item. She is affected by it now. And we know exactly where she's at. So we hit her with the skulls. Obviously, the fly comes into play for I'm all ears for tracking if they have a perk like a Lithe and they get away from us. We use the orb. We've shown the skulls. That one backfired on me. I completely misplayed that. Okay, well, the I'm all ears doesn't work there when I see what you're doing. But you guys get the point. Super fun. Good knowledge for skulls, flight, orbs, and potentially blocking a pallet if it comes to that. And here we are, the end of the road. Dead by Daylight's latest killer, Dracula. And we gave Dracula a perk I used in the Dead by Daylight memes that work video, Dragon's Grip. Because it's just so fun, it's so nice, and even if you play it without Insidious like I do, the bat form and being able to get back to a Dragon's Grip gen is so strong. Alright, so we kicked the gen. And Steve gets hit by the Dragon's Grip. Why are they all pointing at Steve? What did I miss? Alright, there's no way they would fall for this a second time, right? Okay, well, it turns out the Leon was here the entire time. He knows exactly what we're doing. Leon, don't snitch. They're just kind of memeing along now, but it still has the same effect. I don't know, we have a day left of the event. We're going to enjoy this. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed all of these perks, all of these killers, and I hope you try some out yourselves. Is there a perk you love to run on a certain killer? If so, what is it and why do you enjoy it? Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Don't forget to help me out. Hit subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.